Companies under NASDAQ by www.profitableinvestingtips.com. If you want to find stocks in the tech sector and especially growing companies, look for companies under NASDAQ. NASDAQ ranks just behind the New York Stock Exchange in daily value of shares traded. It was founded in 1971 and was the first electronic stock market in the world. Nevertheless, it functioned as a quote system initially. Because it lowered the bid to asking price difference for trades, it was popular with traders but not with brokers. Today, NASDAQ is where you can trade the world's largest tech companies. Difference between New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ Exchange. NASDAQ is one of the two major U.S. stock exchanges. Unlike the older New York Stock Exchange, which is an auction market, the NASDAQ is a dealer market. While the New York Stock Exchange matches the highest bid with the lowest asking price, the NASDAQ buying and selling happens electronically and virtually instantaneously. While the New York Stock Exchange and one designated market maker for each stock, the NASDAQ has 14 on the average. While investors see the New York Stock Exchange as the home for long-term stable stocks, investors go to the NASDAQ to find growth stocks, mostly in the tech sector. Dow and Nasdaq Charts. In trading stocks for companies under NASDAQ, traders use charts the same way as they do for New York Stock Exchange companies, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and others. Dow and Nasdaq charts are both useful by themselves, but can also be used side by side for comparisons and to help decide where to trade. Otherwise, Dow and Nasdaq charts work pretty much the same in terms of timing trades, using important moving averages, and for other purposes. Dow Jones SP 500 NASDAQ. Although many choose to only invest in or trade companies under NASDAQ, most investors pick and choose among Dow Jones, SP 500, NASDAQ, and even foreign stocks based on their assessment of intrinsic stock value and tools like a stochastic trend. Investors who want to invest in ETFs that track these sectors will choose the Dow if they want blue chip companies, the S&P 500 if they want a broad cross-section of the market, and NASDAQ if they want to track tech stocks, especially the FANG stocks that have been leading the market. Compare Dow Jones NASDAQ S&P. New traders and investors often want to know how to compare Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P. The three indexes track closely as the underlying companies are all affected by the business cycle and factors that drive the economy. Also, stocks like Apple are included in all three indices. When you compare Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P, it is useful to know how each is calculated. In each case, total market capitalization is divided by a number that takes into account things like stock splits over the years. Current Dow Jones NASDAQ. Although the stocks in the Dow Jones and companies under NASDAQ are both subject to market forces, they may react differently. For example, the Dow contains ExxonMobil, General Electric, and Boeing. Each of these has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and other factors. However, tech stocks like Microsoft have benefited from the movement to business online and other factors related to social distancing. Cheapest NASDAQ Index Fund. Many investors gave up trying to pick their own stocks years ago. They also gave up on having someone else manage their investments. Rather, they use a dollar-cost averaging approach to put money into the cheapest NASDAQ index fund they could find. Three low-cost index funds suggested by NASDAQ include the Schwab U.S. Broad Market, Shares Core S&P Total U.S. Stock Market, and Vanguard Total Stock Market. Define NASDAQ Index. How do you define a NASDAQ index? According to Investopedia, the NASDAQ Composite Index is the market capitalization weighted index of over 2,500 common equities listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. The types of securities in the index include American Depository Receipts, common stocks, real estate investment trusts, REITs, and tracking stocks, as well as limited partnership interests. The index includes all NASDAQ-listed stocks that are not derivatives, preferred shares, funds, exchange-traded funds, ETFs, or debenture securities. This is the best measure of the overall performance of companies under NASDAQ. For more insights and useful information about investments and investing, visit www.profitableinvestingtips.com.